Hi, my name is Aaron Edgell, and welcome to this session where we'll dive into the programs we offer here at UpGrad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very excited to be with you today. So today we're going to go through the universities we partner with, the details of the programs, what you can expect during and after the programs. We'll also go into how these programs will help you achieve your goals. We have a very international crowd today, coming from the United States, Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. And we'd love to get to know you a little bit better. And so we also want to make sure we're tailoring the content to make it use our time together wisely and tailor the content to be relevant to you. So if you don't mind, we'd love if you just jump into the chat, tell us where you're from, and put any questions you have or any expectations you have from today's session. We'll make sure we answer any remaining questions at the end. And while you do that, and before we get into each program, I'd love to take some time to just briefly intro who we are at UpGrad and how we work with universities to offer these higher education programs that are accessible, affordable, global, and relevant. And so we're privileged to partner with some great universities, as you can see. These are some of the best universities across the globe, coming from the United States, the UK, Europe, and Australia. And a large part of the programs are taught by their well-respected and well-recognized professors who excel at teaching these complex topics in a very engaging way, and they've been doing it for a while. They also cover a variety of fields, from data science to management to technology and law. And they range from certificate level, bachelor's, master's, you have MBAs, and also the doctoral level. And so how does UpGrad fit? Where do we complement? So the educational content is complemented by real world advice, group work. We bring in expertise from subject matter experts, mentors recruited from leading companies across the globe. And you get to learn in one of the most engaging platforms there is. We've recorded tons of content. We have interactive elements. We have forums that you can participate in. And finally, and this is where I get the most excited about how we fit, is that we obsess over career outcomes, because we know you're not simply learning for the sake of it. You come with very specific goals to better yourself and to keep moving forward. And that's what drives us, is that notion that you and everyone should have the career they deserve. Whether you're just getting started, you want to stand out, you want to get a promotion, or you're looking to climb the ladder to senior leadership positions. Maybe you want to move abroad or completely switch careers. We're here to support that and guide you along that way. And we do that really, I think, in three ways. The first is we make education accessible. So you don't need to restrict yourself to local universities. As I mentioned, there are great global universities that are maybe not where you live. And so there's no need to restrict yourself to that. You don't have to quit your job or move to a campus. You can get online education wherever you are at the pace and timeline built for people who have busy work lives, personal life, families, and you're trying to balance all of that into consideration as we design these programs. As I mentioned, the learning experience is engaging, but it's also very supportive and structured. So it's not you and your laptop in isolation trying to figure things out. Whenever you need support, let's say your concept is unclear or you get stuck on something, you can reach out. UpGrad is there to help you. You can also, we also facilitate peer learning. So you can engage with a group of other students who are learning at the same time as you are in cohorts. And so you get that support too. And of course, we bring all of this at a fraction of the cost of an on-campus degree or program. And we do that without sacrificing quality. And we don't want to lose what makes a campus great. And that's the networking opportunities and belonging to a great group of people. The second thing that really differentiates us and we're able to help you achieve your goals is we give you global exposure. You constantly get exposed to global ways of thinking, to frameworks, challenges, and insights. And this is all thanks to teachers, mentors, students coming from 85 countries. We have internationally recognized universities and degrees, and you get to network with experts coming from global companies. And that means you get a little bit more access to international companies. I mean, our alumni work at companies like Amazon, IBM, Microsoft, and Accenture. And in addition to this community of UpGrad alumni, and depending on the program, you're also able to join into this global university alumni network to keep building that international network. And the third way is you get relevant education. We want to make sure that you learn skills and gain experience that actually help you in your current and your next job. And this is all, again, thanks to bringing in subject matter experts and mentors. We provide very hands-on individual projects. We have group projects, and we make sure that the training that we provide is in-demand tools so that you're equipped to immediately add value on the work that you're working on. And then we also have modern programs. So we focus on the careers of tomorrow. We've always done that. So whether it's data science and machine learning, blockchain, or design thinking, that's still our focus and will always be our focus. And then to make sure it's relevant and to make sure that it's what you need, we offer a vast amount of career support. So you get reviews of your resume or CV, whatever you call it, where you're at. You get one-on-one mentorship and advice and more. And so all of this really is why we are a global leader in higher education. We have over 2 million people who've now learned through us in 85 countries across 80 programs. And we're proud of the exceptionally high completion rate, 87%. 75% of our learners have reported positive career impact. And finally, 45% reported rapid salary increase afterwards. Just on a personal note, this idea of being obsessed with your success is really what makes UpGrad great. And in your story and your future story, for those on here who haven't started their journey with us yet, is the UpGrad story. And that's what we obsess over, and that's what we think about all the time. So, but enough from me. Thank you for letting me take some time to give a brief introduction about who we are. I'll now turn the time over and let our learning experience team run through our programs, universities that are most relevant to you.
Before we go into these numbers, which are seen on the screen, right, let's first try to understand, as in how many of you have heard of some data science roles in the market or in your own company, right? So let's wait for a minute. Let's get some responses. Yeah. I think 11 of you have responded. Let's wait for a minute more. Okay, perfect. So what I see here is, if I look at the responses, right, around 70% of you have heard of data science roles in the market or in your own firm, right? Now, that is a testament to the sort of space that you're sort of exploring now in this webinar, or, you know, planning to explore and take up the courses, right? So some very quick facts which are mentioned here, right, that the market space of data science and machine learning is going to grow to 152 billion by 2028, right? And it's not a space in itself, right? It has dependency. A lot of things have dependency on this space, right? So as things keep growing, this is going to grow even more, right? It has application across industries, right? And I'll probably, in the due course, I'll cover one of the applications and help you understand what sort of roles are there in the industry which you can pursue, and how our programs by UpGrad are able to cater to those roles, right? And you know, one key thing which you would like to explore is the average earnings of a data science person is anywhere from $65,000 to a $153,000. Now, keep in mind, this is a entry level, you know, the income that you get, right? It's not something that you get as, you know, 10 years experience in data science, right? They have much more salaries, right? Now, why is this so? Because there are a plethora of roles within data science, right? Data analyst, business analyst, and let's, you know, sort of try to understand that as we go on to the next slide, right? So can we move on to the next slide? Yeah, so So if you see here, right, there are 4 different roles, right? Data analyst, machine learning engineer, data engineer, or data scientist. Now, let's take an example. Let's try to understand this using a industry use case, right? Now suppose you're using a credit card, right? And you swiped your credit card at probably one of the grocery stores, right? And you were charged, right? You get a message that $20 was charged on your credit card. But tomorrow you see that there is another $100 charge on your credit card, right? Now that is something which you haven't transacted and that has been charged, right? So that is a case of fraud. Now, how does a bank deal with fraud? So anytime you transact, right, and if it's not your fault and you have been charged for that, the bank is liable to pay you back, right? So that is a big loss on the bank's end. Now, bank would definitely want to, solve this fraud problem, right? How to solve this fraud problem? There might be a lot of different sort of solutions to it, right? One might be a reactive solution, which is essentially you see that some point of sale place, there is a fraud. So you look at that type of data and sort of try to block those sort of point of sales. The other is a proactive, as in preventive sort of mechanism, where you build a fraud risk model, right? Now, there are different such solutions that you can explore right at the start when you have a business problem. So a business problem which is preventing fraud, right? And then you try to solve it using different methods, some of which involve data, some may not involve data, right? So that is a business understanding phase and taking a decision whether you want to move to a solution that involves data. So that place is the role of a business analyst, right? So the person understands the business understanding and then decides whether to move on a data solution or not. So once we sort of convert that business problem to a data problem, then we go into the space of data science and data analytics, right? And there are different roles further into that. First, you try to understand what sort of data will you gather to sort of build a fraud risk model, right? So what a fraud risk model would do is essentially when I'm transacting on any sort of point of sale or online transaction, it will automatically check whether this transaction is a fraud or not, flag it if it is a fraud, and decline the transaction or let that transaction go if it's not a fraud, right? So building that sort of model, you first need to understand where's the data, what sort of data is available to you, how you can get all that data, right? So at that place comes 2 different sort of roles. One is data engineer, who helps you in getting data from various different sources in real time and putting it at one place where you can do some analysis and do some number crunching, right? The number crunching and analysis on top of it is done by a data analyst, right? So we have covered 3 different roles until now. One is business analyst, one is data engineer, one is data analyst, right? Once you have the data present, right, you need to find some insights before you decide you want to move ahead with a model building solution, right? And these sort of analyses are really important because a data science project usually lasts from 6 to 8 months, right? And if someone is investing in such a solution, they need to be sure that the outcome is coming up, right? So that sort of analysis is done by data analysts, and frequently they update the business team that we are moving here and we are at this stage and will complete, and these are the results that we are getting, right? So it's the work of a data analyst who does a lot of visualization, number crunching, right? Next, we move on to a modeling phase. So once we see that, there is some insight in the data and we can move forward, we then try to build better models that can predict it automatically, right? So there is somewhere data scientists come into play who have very strong fundamental understanding of maths, algebra, calculus, right? And machine learning, right? Because the models are machine learning models that they build. Once that model is ready, you sort of evaluate it and decide this is the final model I want to deploy. And there's a very interesting piece about deployment, right? That you build a model, you can, take some data and predict something on it that, offline you can predict that this model is working well, but it has to be deployed in real time. Like I said earlier, right? That if I am transacting, it should in real time check whether the card transaction is a fraud transaction or not a fraud transaction, right? So that sort of understanding is required and you have to deploy it in real time. And that is where the machine learning engineer comes into play, right? So that person sort of defines the whole data pipeline, right from where you have the data to how the model is built, as in the final model that is ready, how it runs, where does it run, and how it is integrated with the different other solutions that are there. Probably a place where, the final output is given to the business owner that there is a fraud transaction that has been identified. And also other place where the customer who is transacting, suppose I'm the customer, I get a message that your transaction has been declined, right? So all that integration and everything, that is the work of a machine learning engineer from a modeling perspective, right? So we have briefly understood there is a business analyst, there is a data analyst, there is a data engineer, there is data scientist and machine learning engineer, right? And they have different such, sort of skills that are required. If you see, data analyst is majorly involved with, understanding the data and number crunching. A machine learning engineer needs to have the whole data pipeline understanding. So they have, sort of all the skills that are required. And similar is a data scientist who does it on his local laptop or somewhere, but not really in real time, right? So, and a data engineer is majorly involved in getting all the data at one place, right? So these are the different roles. And hence, since, you can see that data analyst usually has a lesser skill set, and hence that person, starts at a 70,000 or 80,000 salary, right? While a machine learning engineer or a data scientist sort of starts at 120, north of $120, right? So that is what, this whole data science landscape is, right? And we sort of try to cover all these roles through the programs that you can see now on the screen, right? So we cater to all of this very well, and all of these programs are able to cater to different such job roles. Now, the different programs that we have, right? I would like to divide it into three different parts. One is a greater than 1 year program, which is very focused. These are master's program. So you will do a lot of, data analysis and everything. A lot of projects would be there, right? And some of these are, having thesis based programs. Some of these are capstone programs, right? You'll have a lot of capstones, you'll have a lot of projects and things like that, right? And then we have a second set of programs, which are executive programs, right? Which are nearly 1 year, right? And these sort of have a similar level of depth with respect to the topics that are covered, the job roles, the outcomes that are there. It's just that towards the end, you are not getting probably a thesis that helps you to go to a master's, right? So if you are someone who just wants to get all the knowledge that's present in the industry and all the techniques that are required for a data scientist, right, you can do an executive program and directly go on to a job. But when you do a master's, right, you have a more confidence because you do more projects, more projects that you can show on your resume, right? Whether it's a Liverpool Masters or a Masters with University of Arizona, which we'll look shortly. And there is a third set of programs, which are certification programs, right? Now, these certification programs are for folks who are not really very sure if they want to actually go for an executive program where they learn a lot more in depth about each and every topic, right? So you want to maybe start off with understanding what actually is data science and want to see if you develop interest into it, right? Once you do that, you can probably then switch to an executive program. And if you like the executive program and you still want to go even further deep, right, you can go to a master's program, right? So that is the sort of transition that we look at, right? Now, let me just first talk about the data science programs that we have, right? So the first program that you see is the data science program with LJMU and IIITB, right? Now, you must be confused, right? Why there are two names in there, right? Why LJMU and IIITB? So let's try to, demystify that, right? So it's a 20-month long program with one of the top UK universities, right? And there what we have is the first year you actually go through the IIIT Bangalore program. So that has all the theoretical content, right, from basics of Python to visualization to data analysis to classical ML models to deep learning, right? And finally a capstone. And then you have a break where you can also learn some other topics which you didn't go through in your 12 months, right? NLP or some of other advanced visualization or data engineering, right? And then move on to a Liverpool John Moores University thesis, right? So that is a 6-month long thesis where you actually sort of write a thesis and publish it, right, as a paper. And as a matter of fact, many of our theses have been converted into paper and published in IEEE journals, right? So that is the sort of testament and the support that you get into this program. So if you understood it properly, it is a thesis-based program where the first year is delivered by IIITB and the next 6 to 8 months are by LGMU, right? There's one key thing here. So two key things I would say, right? One is that we have different specializations within these programs, right? The 3 specializations that we are offering are specific to 3 different target roles. Like I said, one is with respect to data analyst, one is with respect to data engineer, and the third one is with respect to data scientists with specialization in deep learning, right? So these are the 3 different outcomes that you can get just after doing a IIITB program. And if you top it up with a master's, you get the master's in data science, right? One key thing which you should note here is this program can also be taken up by non-tech learners, as in if you have no understanding of programming, you can still take up this program, because before this program starts, we give you a very thorough and very basic, starting from basics and getting you to develop that programming understanding through programming bootcamp, where we cover Python and SQL, and that is a 2-month long program which you get, that helps you in, getting ready to do data science, right? So this is one such program. The second one, which is one of our top programs, is the Masters of Data Science with University of Arizona, right? So this program also starts from the basics, right? And it covers more topics, which I'll talk about. But, this is, since it covers a lot of topics like ML ops and other things, right? It requires you to have a basic understanding of programming beforehand, because it's very intensive, and since it's with University of Arizona, the sort of rigor that's required is much higher, right? You have a lot of programming assignment after every 5 weeks, right? And you need to be very up to speed with programming. So if you are familiar with programming in any language, I would suggest you take up the University of Arizona program. But if you are not confident that, I may not be able to, do a lot of programming and I want to learn first and then start the program, I believe you should start off with the Liverpool John Moores University program, right? And the other difference is if you are very inclined towards, academic research, right? So take my example, right? When I graduated, I, saw a lot of friends who went for masters and PhDs, and they were publishing a lot of papers. And I have been in this academic zone for, more than 3 to 4 years, right? And I'm like, I'm doing so much research, but I'm not publishing anything, right? So if you are someone who has that sort of inclination to publish a paper on it and do some research, right? You should definitely take up the Liverpool John Moores University program, because that has a 6-month master's thesis. The Arizona program has capstones, multiple capstones, right? And the sort of topics that are covered are, the breadth and depth are much better than the others, right? So you have like R covered, right? Programming in R, and even, visualization in R. Python is the main language of instruction, right? ML, DL, NLP, machine learning operations. So once you deploy, like I said, you need to monitor that model and see when, if it would break sometime down the lane. So how do you, monitor and improve that, right? So big data, cloud, ethics, AI leadership. So there are a lot of things that are covered in this program, and it requires a lot of, rigor with respect to programming. So only take this program if you are good with programming, you have confidence with that, right? And this curriculum that has been made, all these curriculum have been made by very thorough research, right? And covers the latest skills and the technologies that are required for you to succeed in this space, right? Now, the third data science, sort of program with IIM Code, which I'm going to talk about, is majorly meant for people who are, looking to make business decisions. So you are in a business role, probably head of marketing or head of sales or even head of finance or something like that, right? Who wants to sort of implement data science solution in their role, right? So take, for example, you are in finance, right? And you want to automate the whole reimbursement process, right? So you can take up this program and try to understand how this is going to help you in improving the processes, right? So this one by IAM-Code requires no coding. It's delivered in Excel and Tableau. It has a special AI leadership course towards the end that helps you in deciding what should be the AI strategy roadmap for your domain or even your company if you grow to that level, right? And all these programs will have multiple capstones. Next, like we move on to our machine learning programs. So the first one which you see is Masters of Machine Learning with LGMU. This is a similar one with LGMU and IIITB. This is similar to the one that we have in data science, right? The curriculum is different because the ML program, which has all the concepts taught. So in the data science program, you will only be able to go through a deep learning track, right? And NLP, you can probably do it after the program. In this machine learning program, you will have machine learning as well as deep learning, as well as NLP, as well as cloud and MLOps in 1 year, right? So this is also an intensive program, will require you to have fluency with programming, right? Again, since it's with LGMU, you will have a 6-month master's thesis after 1 year of IIITB. And like I said, all the programs will have multiple capstones, right? I've already described this one, which is the second one, executive program at IIITB in machine learning, right? The third one is a certification program, right? So like I said, there are 3 types of programs. One is a master's program, one is an executive program, one is a certification program. So certification program are majorly for the folks who are not very sure if they want to sort of go to a 12-month program, right? But there are certain demerits to this. Like if you see here, there are 2 tracks, deep learning and NLP, and you can only choose 1 track, right? So if you're very sure that you want to do just deep learning, then you should take up this program. But I would highly recommend that you at least take an executive program because it has a lot more tools, a lot more concepts that you can cover, and more hackathons too, right? So yeah. Now, how does our programs stand out amongst the competitors, right? The first thing which I would talk about is definitely the sort of experts that we work with, right? It's ranging from experts in academia to experts in different companies like Google, Microsoft, right, Facebook, Uber. We have collaborated with all of them, and we have sort of tried to understand what are the sort of roles that are required, right? And this is not very something that we do. We sort of try to get the perspective for different regions also. It's not just based to India. It's even getting the perspective for EMEA or even US, right? So understanding what sort of roles are there, what sort of skill sets are required, right? So any curriculum that we develop, right, we have a very 360-degree understanding to develop that curriculum. We sort of try to understand the student, what is the student wanting, right? What is he or she looking at while getting a job? What sort of job the person wants, right? Then we talk to industry leaders who see where the industry is going to progress, right? So how to cover those sort of concepts. Then we also talk to the industry practitioners, right? Who actually hire these students, right? So what do they look at in the interviews? And culminating all of that, we finally come up with a cutting edge curriculum, right? Apart from that, recorded lectures are one, sort of thing that you go through. Apart from that, we have support that goes in parallel, right? So every week, along with recorded lecture, you will have some live element where you will interact with your peers or even industry mentors, right? Through small group coachings and live sessions, right? And as you can see, it's a global program. So you'll get to interact with people all over the world, right? And that gets you a lot of perspective as in how they are solving a particular problem in their company, which is in a different domain, in a different geography, right? And because a lot of things depend on the data that you have, and the data is different in different continents, different countries, right? Because people behave differently, they have different incomes, so their trends are different, right? So networking with them and understanding all of this really helps you in building a very, diverse, background of data science, right?
Thanks so much, Kaustubh, and thank you, Aaron, for talking so beautifully about all our data and machine learning programs. And I hope that was very helpful for all of you who are attending the session today. Before I move on to take Q&A from all of the number of years you've been working for and the outcome you're expecting. This will help us in streamlining the questions that you ask us on the Q&A box so that we can prioritize them in the order in which most of you are aligned. Two very quick questions. Want you to just press those two buttons and help us here. All right. Very balanced audience today. Great to know that. And thanks for sharing, Sanskriti. The URLs of all the programs that we currently offer in data science and machine learning from LGMU, University of Arizona, and all our other wonderful university partnerships. Well, let me see if there are any questions for us here. I did answer a couple of them during the session. So one of them was, I'm coming from a background which does not include a lot of mathematics. Can I still pursue data science? Absolutely, you can. And you as Kaustubh mentioned during the session, right, that you do have something called the prep course. The preparatory course will help you with basics of statistics, and that'll help you ramp up pretty quickly. So definitely pick up the prep course and do spend some time with it before you start the program. All right. What other questions can I see here? Do feel free to write the questions in the Q&A box like most of you have been doing. One of the questions again that I answered during while Kaustubh was speaking was, since course fees are high for the master's degrees, are there any installment facilities? We do have different financing options depending on which country you are in. So the different options that each country has depending on the partners we've collaborated with, we definitely have some great financing options for you. All right. Do we have any other questions from the participants? I hope most of your questions Kaustubh already answered in his presentation. And if there are any, feel free to write, and happy to talk about them here. All right. I think I see one question through the chat box. Is this degree globally recognized? Absolutely. And Anmol, if you'd like to answer that for me.
Yeah. Hi all. So all the degrees from LGMU and the University of Arizona, since they are the global universities with a very good ranking and WS certification. These two degrees are very well recognized all across the globe, and they are in line with their host nations education compliances. So even during going for PhD or maybe applying for a next set of masters, the credit transfer program is 100% applicable and you will be able to avail that. So University of Arizona being among the top 100 universities is a very good option if you would like to go for a transition as the outcome. And LGMU is more on the research front. So it's up to you which degree you would like to pick up.
Sure, thanks, Anmol. There's one question from Fahim. Is the prep course included in the Master's of Data Science program, or is it a different course? And is the degree recognized by WES? The last question, it is recognized by WES, which is WES. And for answering the first part, Anmol, it's included in the course, right?
Yeah. Apart from the prep course, we are also running a boot camp, which would help you to get, get a quick refresher. And if you are not from a very good technical background, it would help you gain that knowledge on Python. If you're not working, Python in your current job, it would help you get to know Python that is required for this, program. So and prep and bootcamp are part of the program. You would start about a month early over there from the actual graded component, and that prep part would help you to build that solid foundation required for this program.
Great. All right. I hope that answered your questions, Fahim. There's one anonymous question, which is, while applying for visa to any country, can we add this as a qualification, and would they consider us? Yes, as per WES, this qualifies to be a master's degree, and hence you can use that in your visa application, but also depends on which country you're talking about here, right? And if there are any other rules that apply from the country of residence to the country you're trying to apply a visa to. So depending on what other rules could overlay on top of this, it could change. But yeah, if you want to highlight specifically which country you're from and which one do you want to immigrate to.
Also, to add to that, the degree you're getting is same as the offline degree. There's no mention of upgrade anywhere. It's just this upgrade connecting you to the university. So since the degree is same as offline degree, it's applicable and recognized worldwide. So there's no differentiation that you've got it online in that sense.
Thanks for clarifying that. And that absolutely makes so much of a difference, right? There's so much of opportunity cost when you have to leave your job and pursue a master's degree. And here you're getting the advantage of actually not having to pick up that huge opportunity cost, and also doing it at such affordable prices. Because if you were to look at other master's degree options in the US, in Canada, you will see everything exceeds over $50,000. All the Ivy Leagues are $100,000 plus. Right, I think Ravish has responded to that question. He's talking specifically about US and Canada. Both of them, they can use this qualification, right, Anmol, as a master's degree?
Yeah. So since University of Arizona is a US university, the degree you're getting is inherently the same that they offer offline. So there's no differentiation over there. It's just a master's degree for any of the
and
official purposes. And even the LJMU is a UK degree, like from a university in UK. So even that is recognized at the same scale in US. So while what Meda was trying to mention was that different countries have their different credit weightage conversion. Some universities have some continents have ECTS like in UK. Some have the credit hours like in US. So the conversion matters, but that is same. Like if you go to that university and get that degree, it would be same. Like the criteria would be still the same. So it's just that we are giving you this opportunity to do it online.
Got it. And I think, Ravish, one question: if you want to see what's the best equivalency, which is the WES equivalency, do get in touch with your admissions counselor. they will show you how it looks on the West platform as well, so that it helps you in your PR applications, etc., visa applications. And yeah, we just shared the email ID, or if you have the email ID of the admissions counselor you're currently speaking with, do feel free to ping him or her to inquire about the same. All right. One question from Fahim is that, would I be able to finish the degree earlier than 20 months? Fahim, this is going to be both a mix of live sessions plus recorded sessions. So we'd like you to go with the class, and because your assignments would be graded along with the batch you're a part of. So you can enroll today for the 30th November batch, and you will, from now till the next 20 months, you'll be part of that batch who's going to study with you. You will be like Kaustubh was talking about, these small group coaching sessions. So you'll be paired with people who are geographically closer to you and also have a similar background as you, so that you can make the most of your peer learning, and you can also get access to industry mentors from the region you're currently in. I hope that answers your question. Ravish is saying, do I need to do any type of English language proficiency test for either of the courses, University of Arizona or Liverpool University? Neither, right, Anmol?
Yeah. Only your mode of instruction for all the 10th, 12th, your graduation. So they should mention the mode of instruction as English. With that qualification, we are good to go.
Great. So while Ravish, it sounds very clear. And Fahim, I hope these answered your questions. We've got a batch starting on the 30th of November. So feel free to reach out to us if there's any more questions you have with regards to any other topic that you need clarity on. All right. Any other open questions? I don't see it on the chat or the Q&A box. But Anmol, thanks for answering all of them so far so patiently and so clearly. Cool. Just trying to understand a little bit about how so far have you been getting answers to all your questions? Do you want us to conduct more such sessions for your clarity and how we can better help you achieve your career goals? Do let us know. Just click these two buttons. All right. Thank you, Fahim. Do have a great day at work. And yes, thank you for letting us know that you'd like to keep receiving communication from us for future sessions that we conduct. That's great to know. All right. I think one question that we usually get asked, and I like to address that here, is does this program, help open up job opportunities for me globally? Absolutely it does, because you will now be able to tap into the same networks of the university. So you can definitely reach out to the alumni who've already done these programs, and that'll become your doors and windows of opportunities into job prospects. For if you're currently in roles which are nowhere close to the kind of roles you want to transition to, we always end up coming in a catch-22 situation where you don't have the right experience to get the experience that you want, which is why upGrad's courses are so beautifully interjected with live industry projects and a capstone project at the end of the course, which allows you to utilize them and reflect them in your resume, so that at least you make the first cut of resume screening. And you also have some great career support and mock interviews through the course, through the duration of the program. And you can definitely go up and ask that I would like to be prepared for this interview, which is upcoming for me. And our career coaches would be happy to help and guide you through it. So yes, opening up a host of global job opportunities is what you also get when you do upGrad's programs. And thank you so much for being with us today and listening to us so patiently. Look forward to interacting with all of you again soon, and having most of you enrolled in our programs. Do reach out to us at admissions@upgrad.com with the subject line as today's session, and feel free to post any other questions that were unanswered in this session. Thanks, Anmol. Thanks, Kaustubh. Thanks, Aaron. So much. Thank you for your time today. Have a great day, everyone.